Well, hi everyone. Welcome to today's video. We are at Carleton Street and Yonge Street, and it is Monday, October 4th. And today we are walking down Carleton Street, heading eastbound. And when I left home, it was, I think, 14 out. And I brought my umbrella, and I'm wearing rain boots, and I've got long pants on, and I've got a light jacket on, and I'm hot. So I walked from home straight down Yonge to get here, and I am sweaty. That's, I'm sure, something very appealing to all of you. So I apologize. I'll try and keep those hygiene comments to myself next time. So right across the street, not sure if the camera will pick it up, but there's the Carleton Cinema. And maybe less so today, but back, say, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago even, the Carleton Cinema was a really kind of funky, or actually they showed sort of obscure, funky, indie type films. And I thought Carleton Cinema holds some good memories for me, because I never experienced indie films when I was living in Calgary. It wasn't until I moved to Toronto that I sort of started watching films that were less Hollywood, or tried to watch films that were less Hollywood and maybe foreign or indie type films, but those were sort of hard to come by. But I used to see many at that Carleton Museum with friends. And here we're coming upon Maple Leaf Gardens. This used to be the premier hockey skating rink for the NHL. And so there was a lot of televised hockey games held here at the Maple Leaf Gardens. I've been to a few. It has since, of course, been converted into a Loblaws, a Joe Fresh. It also seems to be an athletic center here, which I've never been to. It's nice out, actually. It's really nice out. Very, very mild breeze. It's comforting considering how hot I am. So we got back from, oh, I just got splattered right in the eye with a drop of water from the rooftop. We just got back from Ottawa Thursday. We had a lovely visit with my mother-in-law. I just love coming home, being a homebody. I love being at home. We had friends over for dinner on Saturday night. It's nice to be able to do that again with friends and family and not worry. Everybody that we know has been vaccinated, and everybody we know, nobody actually has been sick that we've socialized with. My husband and I discovered a new YouTube channel, which I thought it'd be worth mentioning to you guys, because it's really a fun channel. My husband is a pilot. He does that as a hobby. He's a private pilot. And so, of course, he's interested in all things aviation. And he discovered a YouTube channel, and it's called 74 Gear. I certainly hope I got that right. If I didn't get that right, I will correct it before this video is loaded. Anyway, so it's about it's a pilot. He seems fairly young, probably 40-ish, and he's got just the most lovely disposition. He's calm. He seems like just a nice guy. Anyway, so what he does is he reviews, aviation, everything from flights to landings, takeoffs, behavior of passengers and or other pilots. And there was one in particular where he talked about a pilot. I think he was flying a small Cessna, and well, he was a private pilot at least, so he wasn't a 747 pilot like this YouTube content provider is. He only flies 747. But anyhow, he was talking about this one pilot who was, I think he was by himself. I think he was flying solo, and he was encroaching upon I think it was Las Vegas airspace. I think it was Las Vegas, but around some of the larger airports, if not all, private pilots flying small planes usually, if ever, fly into like international airport airspace. I could be wrong, but you don't really see like these small planes flying into the major airports. They may fly into landing strips associated with the larger airports, but not into the large airports themselves. So usually the large international airports, I think the only planes that take off and land there are like large passenger planes. Anyhow, he's talking about this one guy who's flying a little Cessna, and he's coming in, and I think it is the Las Vegas airport. Anyhow, he's flying into a major airport airspace, and apparently if you do that, you have to gain permission to do that. So apparently he's flying into this airspace, and so the tower contacts him, the control tower contacts him and says, it's like aviation language, which I'm not going to attempt to try and articulate, but it's like, who are you kind of thing, or whatever, and what are you doing here, or something, something along that ilk. And pilot said, well, I requested to land. Now here's that dog park that we saw in last Monday's video. Look at those little, I have to pause and take a look because look how perfect these little monkeys are. Bark, bark, barks. And that little guy's saying, come play with me. How perfect. Gorgeous. Anyway, so he said, well, I requested, to enter this flying space, and the air traffic controller said, you didn't gain access, or you didn't gain permission, or something. And he said, well, I requested it a couple of times. And, so apparently you can request, but you have to get confirmation. If you hear nothing, you surmise that you have not gained permission to access that airspace. Anyhow, so this guy went ahead, and just because he requested, he just assumed that he didn't hear anything, so he was just going to enter this airspace. And so the traffic controller tells him that he didn't gain confirmation. And but the attitude of this private pilot was, well, then give me permission, or with a really cocky attitude. Anyhow, so then what happened was, apparently, he landed or whatever. I can't remember exactly if they redirected him or what they did, but the thing was, the air traffic controller says, when an air traffic controller tells a pilot to call this number, that means something serious happened. Some major infraction happened. So when the air traffic control person said to call this number, write down this number, that's a serious, that's something that this YouTube content provider said that you don't ever want to happen to you. We just crossed Sherbourne Street, still heading eastbound on Carleton. And so Kelsey is the name of this, he's the creator of 7-4 gear, because 7-4 stands for 747. Anyway, and he said that's something no pilot ever wants to hear, because that's something major that you have done as a pilot. So he surmised that this private pilot could have had his license suspended. You know, I don't know if there's a fine in aviation, you know, like driving too fast, you get a speeding ticket. I don't know. I assume there would be some sort of fine. Who knows? Maybe he could have been, the other thing this guy said was he could be banned from ever entering that airspace again. Anyhow, it was really interesting. And, you know, the point being that, you know, I know David as a pilot, and his natural disposition is just very calming and very soothing. He always maintains a very even temperament, and that helps me a lot. But it's nice if you have that naturally as a pilot, and this particular 747 pilot has that same disposition, and he just seems like a really nice guy. But also his delivery of his content and how he explains things in layperson's terms. So even though my husband can watch it and appreciate the aviation terminology and understanding, and he has an understanding of what, you know, things mean at a deeper level, this particular fellow, he is really good at explaining things in layperson's terms, so I understand it. So both David and I appreciate his content from a viewing perspective, certainly, and the way Kelsey explains things. So I would suggest, if you like aviation information, or you like watching that type of thing, check out his channel. It's 7-4 Gear, and his name is Kelsey, and it's really good. It's his voice is, I think it's his voice also is what captures me. It's just very calming and just a really nice voice. And he said he got started doing this YouTubing because one time he was really delayed. His flight was really delayed, so he was in a hotel room, not much to do, and that's how he started, with his phone. And his lighting was his window, because you actually see him. He talks to you, and then it's a cut screen, so he's on one side of the screen, and the other side of the screen will show the image or the plane that's that he's speaking about. And yeah, that's how he got started. And he's got like a gazillion hits on his channel. Look how beautiful these are. This is a funky window. This looks like a really cool storefront. Really cool. It's been a while since I've walked this whole way down Carleton. Yeah, so that's how he got started, and he just, kind of went viral, and I understand why, because, he's not a jerk. He's just a nice guy, and he just has a real positive vibe about him. It's the kind of guy that if you knew that he was your pilot, you'd feel you feel confident and comfortable knowing that you're in safe hands. So we are in Cabbage Town. Now we are at Parliament Street. Parliament and Carleton. Well, folks, I think this is where I'm going to sign off for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I thank you rather for participating today. And please maybe check out that YouTube channel 74774 Gear. And the content creator, his name is Kelsey, and he's a 747 pilot. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. This is Boomer Girl Walking, signing off.